Anyway, we got comments from the interwebs today, Brian, on the program. Because we've said some things on some shows recently, and people have piped in either tweets or emails or however they do it these days. We mentioned in the Goldberg match with the Claymore Kid himself, Drew McIntyre, we mentioned that Goldberg came to the ring with 6 security guards in a fucking empty arena in the middle of a pandemic. He was walking from backstage where we didn't even see the usual, people wandering around or standing, leaning on an anvil case or whatever. Completely empty arena, or backstage to a completely empty arena into a completely empty Thunderdome. He had 6 security guards. We questioned, what the fuck did he need the 6 security guards? Several people brought this up. And I don't know why we didn't realize it. We say this at every show. The security guards were to protect him from backstage attacks by other wrestlers. Because we've said that in the back at a wrestling show is the most dangerous place in the world, regularly.
That's true.
3, 4, 5 times a night, every show, somebody is either left laying or in the middle of being attacked on camera. And if the camera catches that many, we can only imagine how many there actually are back there we don't see. So I can understand why if Goldberg was going to come back to such a dangerous environment like that, he would require security.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it only makes sense because everybody wants to get a reputation by jumping somebody in the locker room. We forgot to even comment about this, and it's just because I guess there's so much that you can't take seriously and so much that's wrong but we didn't even mention on the whole on the whole Royal Rumble review. Boy, Randy Orton's face healed up nicely from being incinerated with a fucking bazooka with a flamethrower 2 weeks beforehand. Who'd they have? Was that Dr. Andrews in Birmingham? It worked on his face? I thought Andrews just did orthopedic surgery. But whoever they got to work on him, do you think did they take like skin from a baby's ass and graft it on or whatever? Now that I can't stop thinking about this now. Why? What did he have the mask on Raw the previous week over the burns and etc. that you could see around the eye holes, and then he just comes out and he looks like he did when he was in fucking OVW 20 years ago. Not a scab.
That's pretty silly.
Didn't anybody think of that? I mean, we didn't even think of it because we're just so used to this all being nonsense. But you would think the people perpetrating the nonsense would at least have thought of that. I went on fucking network television wearing a neck brace, Regis and Kathy Lee, because I was pile driven 11 days previously in the Knoxville Civic Coliseum. And I still thought, well, so Randy gets his face set on fire and he's not even going to raise his hand. Sir, I bet he did. I bet he said, am I supposed to wear them? Oh, no, it's okay. It's been a couple of weeks. Those fucking 3rd-degree burns and skin grafts, they do amazing things these days. There was another loophole that we obviously missed on this, and so many of these brilliant modern wrestling pundits out there in the interwebs brought this up. I said, Reigns and Owens, the fighting in the arena and the off the tables, through the tables and the chairs and it's just now that they have an empty arena, they just do more indie style garbage matches. They won't have a match in the ring because now they got the whole arena to play with and they're rattling the furniture around and blah, blah, blah. But it was just so we remarked on how preposterous it was. Everybody wrote back, well, but you don't understand. It was last man standing. So of course you use forklifts in the parking lot. What in the world is wrong with you? Like, I don't know if they called them last man standing matches in the territories. I don't remember that being the case, although that was sometimes that phrase was used as part of the promotion for another stipulation match, like a Texas death match or whatever. But the object, the rules, the same thing. It's Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Valiant did them, and they called them a dogfight match. You got to not, your opponent has to be down for a count. I think they did 20, right? So they could really milk it. Or whatever the match was called in the different territories, or because of the different angle that somebody was programmed, somebody was involved in. The idea of winning a match by your opponent being down and not being able to answer a count of 10 or 20 or whatever is 80 fucking years old. They didn't use forklifts. Did they, Brian? Have I missed all those matches down through the last 80 years that they've been using this stipulation where you couldn't have the match without a forklift and or fighting in the upper reaches of the goddamn sports arena?
I believe that's how Thez finally put Bill Longson down.
It was the forklift.
It was the forklift. That's right. The forklift grapevine.
Yes, if it was and then he tried it again, and the second time he tried it, the goddamn forklift ran out of gas. But anyway, we weren't criticizing the last man standing concept. We were trying to explain that this has devolved into a ridiculous stunt show that looks like they're trying to have a video game fight on location rather than a legitimate contest between two people where the idea is the winner is the guy that can beat the count to his feet and the loser not, which is basically the same thing. That was the rules of fucking bare knuckle boxing in the John L. Sullivan days, where they would go, he went 78 rounds with Jake Kilrain because a round ended then when one of the contestants was knocked off his feet. They weren't set times. And then finally, when you can't get up and answer the bell, guess what? Boom. It's the same fucking thing. Forklifts were not involved.